Big Ben won't bong in celebration like the Brexiters want, but at 11 p.m. on Friday, midnight in Brussels, they'll get the freedom they've long desired. The UK's 47 years of awkward marriage with Europe will finally end in divorce.
The British wanted all the benefits of European integration without having to engage in many of the internal trade-offs necessary for it to work.
When France, West Germany, Belgium, Italy, Luxembourg and the Netherlands first united their coal and steel industries in 1951, the UK didn't join the new club. It was the EU's forerunner, created to stop a war-ravaged continent ever fighting itself again.
The British attitude was, well, this is a great idea, you should go ahead, but we don't really need it, thanks, because we won the war. I think there was a sense here that A, we weren't weak enough to need that sort of crutch, and that B, actually, we had the rest of the world. We had the Commonwealth, we had the United States in addition to Europe, and as a leading colonial power with a global role, we didn't want to tie ourselves to something as regional and small as simply Europe.
By the 60s, the European Economic Community, as the 6 countries had become, looked more alluring to British eyes. It was economically successful compared to an increasingly uncompetitive UK. But French President Charles de Gaulle played hard to get, twice rejecting London's proposal. It wasn't until 1973 that the UK and Europe finally tied the knot. But the UK always wanted something of an open relationship. It stayed out of the passport-free Schengen area. It didn't join the common currency, the euro, and it paid proportionately less into EU budgets than other member states. None of these exemptions, though, calmed growing Euroscepticism on the UK's political right. Supported by a largely anti-EU press, some in the Conservative Party wanted out of the whole thing, fearing the EU was becoming a federal superstate. Vicious infighting over Europe bedevilled Prime Ministers Margaret Thatcher, John Major and David Cameron.
It is time for the British people to have their say.
Ken Clarke was a minister in all their governments.
David fancied his chances. He was quite sure he'd win a referendum. He thought it was rather a clever way of stopping the party having these public rows on the subject. And that was the start of what's become an historic crisis, and so the whole country going back to square one, starting all over again, trying to decide what its role in the world is.
Cameron's Remain campaign lost the 2016 referendum. Boris Johnson's Leavers won. But where next? Strength and independence cheer some, poverty and loneliness lament others. Much depends on what future relationship the UK and Europe will have and what different paths the two take. Rory, Challands, Al Jazeera, London.